I do want to yield the floor to you, sir, to make your comment, and I will open the floor to maybe one or two other folks if you are interested in saying a few words. I will politely cut you off if you're going off the rail, but I welcome you. Just be sure to state your name and the organization you represent and hit the button. Sit right there in the middle.
One, two, 1, 2. Hello, my name is Lou Rinaldi. I don't represent a particular organization. I am a patient advocate in the state of Connecticut. I hold an MBA from Albertus Magnus College and a data science certificate from UC Berkeley. A couple of years ago, I worked directly with Leader Rojas to create the Connecticut Office of the Cannabis Ombudsman, which now exists within the Healthcare Advocate Office. I want to start by thanking you, Mr. McGee, and I do truly believe that you have good intentions. I also believe that there are a lot of forces in play that are perhaps hamstringing your ability to execute effectively on some particular issues. I have some notes here, and I'll keep it to the facts so that you don't have to cut me off. We've heard about groups that working with certain groups pays the salaries for staff and the impact is limited. I think that was one of the youth working group mentions. But I also see that we're giving significant portions of that 36 million that's been sitting in escrow, or whatever you want to call it, to the United Way, which is notoriously administrative overhead heavy. So I would call that into question. There's been a lot of talk about product safety and quality, which I find supremely ironic, since Ms. Burns submitted an op-ed to the Connecticut Mirror back in September, declaring that current adulterative practices for cannabis in Connecticut are safe and they make the products safer. And in that same op-ed, she welcomed debate on the topic and then ghosted multiple attempts to engage in that debate, which is a little disconcerting. Why ask for the debate if you have no intention of engaging in it? And if pre-harvest UVC radiation treatments do in fact make Connecticut cannabis safer, why would the chamber oppose proactive disclosure of this adulteration on individualized product labels? A simple sign at the dispensary that says some of these products may or may not have been treated does not suffice. When we go to the grocery store, we go to the dairy section, there's not a big sign that says, hey, some of these products may or may not have undergone pasteurization. It's right there on the individualized product label. And dairy producers don't say that it's a scarlet letter. They're happy to comply with that. And we talk about the normalization of radiation with things like fruits and vegetables. Yes, limes, I've heard that repeatedly from DCP. They seem to be obsessed with limes. Yes, lemons and limes are often preemptively irradiated. But since 1986, the FDA has required the Radura symbol on these products to inform and educate the consumer so that they can make an informed decision. So I would welcome that debate. I would love to have an actual debate on that topic. You know, I believe it would help reveal just how much of the supply chain is de facto adulterated in Connecticut, mainly by one of your members, Art Linares and Rodeo Cannabis, who, by the way, holds a social equity license.
Sir,
yes.
You can
okay, I'll continue.
Mm-hmm.
We're also hearing about shifting away from fear-based messaging. Again, very ironic. Fentanyl lacing was debunked in 2022 by both Hearst Connecticut Media Group and NBC Connecticut. This is all public. You can go search it up. It's all out there. It's still a lie today, just as it was a lie back when Nicole's board member, Brian Murray, was pushing it, you know, back in 2022.
If we can just stick to your comments regarding
all
how
I'm
it
saying
all started.
Is let's see the toxicology reports. Let's stop taking police word for it, and let's see those toxicology reports, because there's a lot of factors that are not being considered here, a lot of market protectionism that goes into and I even see it bleeding into what is being discussed here. I hear the kernels of a lot of great ideas, and I sense a lot of true connection to the mission at hand. But I also understand that we're the land of steady habits, and we're working with a lot of old money interests here. And bridging that gap continues to be a challenge, as I'm sure you're well aware. So I appreciate the discussion. I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I'm glad to hear you say that you're going to be reintroducing public comment to related proceedings, because I think that was borderline egregious to remove the ability for the public to speak freely on such issues. And thank you all for the time. Again, I know it's a volunteer effort, and I know that if we're willing to finally have some honest conversations that are rooted in reality, I think we can make some real progress and have a regulated industry that we can be proud of, instead of just propping up to protect incumbent licensees. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rinaldi. If you could just stay seated there, because I want to look at you when I'm saying this. Because you mentioned our revitalized, reimagined community reinvestment program, I think it's important that I at least address one fact that's incorrect. And you mentioned the United Way, and I think it's unfair to, and I'm not putting words in your mouth, but the perception of disparaging an organization. Not saying that you said that, but I want to just correct the perception here. The Social Equity Council, with support from our council members, our community, and the DAS process for procurement or procurement of any of these contracts, we vetted each and every organization. Organizations had to apply. They had to be evaluated, and they had to be voted on, all of which was public. These organizations are hired grant managers to help facilitate and work alongside these organizations that Mr. Torres mentioned earlier, who are actually doing the hard work. There are caps on administrative fees, which is outlined in the contract. That is also on the website. So again, I take this work very, very seriously and somewhat personally on behalf of my team that's working extremely hard to ensure a very transparent process, right? So our goal within this 36 million is to be intentional and strategic. And so we have 3 program priority areas. That's economic development, reentry services, and youth initiatives. And also, these folks who are serving on this committee volunteer. They can still apply for the funding. That too will go through an evaluation process, right? So our goal is not to just, because we have, just spend. No, we want to be intentional, and we want to transform our communities. I'm getting a little older, and I don't have time to waste. I want to make sure that my children and yours have thriving communities to live, work, and play. So I appreciate your comments. You're welcome to join any of our committees. It's open. As a matter of fact, we have so many meetings in front of a camera, I'm tired of it, but we've got to do it so that the community can be reassured that these dollars will come back to their neighborhoods. So thank you so much for your commentary, your passionate, delivery, and also some of the things you are saying is actually correct in terms of overlapping and policy recommendations. Love to work with you on that. So
fantastic.
Thanks again.
Yeah, and just to be clear, I'm not disparaging the United Way. I'm simply, looking at the history of the Social Equity Council and very happy to see that you're in a leadership position now that can avoid some of the pitfalls of the past and bring a degree of transparency and accountability to the disbursement of those funds.
Thank you.
So grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.